right, guys, we are live. This is the MDK podcast. Master your business, dominate your trade, kick your competition's ass. And today I'm excited because we got Mark Kelly, the one, the only. And I've been like secretly following this dude for several years through Facebook and his videos because he's a Google Ads guy. And I guess I am, but not like he is. I mean, he does it and really helps a lot of business owners. And I just do it for myself and a few friends. And when I don't do it for people and they ask, and I think we're in a bunch of different groups together, but
yeah, we are.
And when someone asks me, hey, well, if you're not going to do it, who runs Google Ads? There's only probably two people, and you're the top of the list of guys that I trust to run Google Ads for them. And that's what today's going to be about. But I don't want to start off there. I want to tease everybody first. But hey, Mark, how old are you? Because I'm 60. I'll be 61 this year.
You look a year younger than me. I'm 62.
Oh, you're 62?
I don't look as good as you do, though. That's amazing.
Yeah, I thought you looked better, but
well, 60 isn't as bad as people think it is. 60 is what is it? New 40?
Yeah, and I know you feel like me. It's like, shit, I know all these 60-year-old guys, but I ain't them. That's not me. I'm not one of those dudes.
When I was a kid, when people were 60, it was like, but things were different too back then. It really was, but that's what I choose to believe, at least. I'm 62 and loving life.
Man,
so learning things every day.
I've been playing golf for, I don't know, since 2001 or something. With some guys that I've known over 40 years, but we've been playing golf every Friday, and some of them miss or go. But one of the dudes is 85 right now, and he still kicks my ass, drives the ball farther than me. And I think he lives for Fridays just so he can talk shit to me. And I'm like, dude, you've been playing 25 years longer than me. Of course you should be better.
I used to work on an Army base. There was a golf course on the base, and I would play with this old guy. And it made me crazy because he would just hit it down the middle.
Yeah.
And then down the middle. And then on the green.
And then
meanwhile, I'm over here. I'm over there. It's a great game. I've been back at it again because you can play forever.
Yeah. It'll drive you crazy forever. I think.
Oh, absolutely.
The game's going to kill me. But I mean, so where'd you grow up at? I know you're living now. You're outside of Orlando.
I grew up in beautiful Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, which is near Gettysburg. That's the only reference point most people get. Yeah, so I grew up in Chambersburg, sort of just a nice little town to grow up in as a kid, In
school, did you go to college?
I did not. My father had a computer business. He had started back in, believe it or not, 1971. Wow. And I was thinking about going to school for art, and then I was thinking about eating. So I just went to work for Dad in the computer business. I'm like, I could do art or I could do computers and make a living. So I started out in IT back then. It wasn't even IT then, it was data processing.
Yeah. Were you writing code and programs and stuff?
We did write code. He wrote code.
Crap?
Yeah. Like when he got his first computer, it was 1969, and IBM used to bring people to his office to say, here's what a computer looks like.
Wow.
Like, I don't know how they did it because now you've got everything available. You just go to YouTube and learn stuff.
Yeah.
He had a freaking manual, and
man, like the encyclopedia.
Yeah. But we had, cards that you shoved into the computer, and RPG was the language. It was nuts. And, I thought I was in IT up until about 2008. And then I thought, well, I'm just getting tired of relearning my job every 3 years. So I got into marketing.
Yeah.
Little did I realize I would just have to relearn
everything. No, because I was talking to a guy yesterday, and I'm trying to put together a Google Ads manual just for some business owners that I help, just to kind of. And I've got the videos. I'm like, well, dude, just go watch the videos. And I said, but even if I do a manual, even when I do the videos, it's like you got to update it every 6 months or a year, and like
change the interface, change options.
Yeah. And it's like, and I don't know, it's like, it's we'll get into it in a little bit, but there's so many like little bitty things that you gotta. It's like I don't know if you can teach it. It's like you look at stuff for so long, you kind of know what's working and not working. It's almost like a feeling you get. I don't know. We'll talk about it. So did IT? I know some people that make good money in IT and they can work from anywhere. You just didn't like. You got bored with
Well,
what?
see, it was before, like, well, the main thing that happened is I went into management. And as soon as you go into management, all you're doing is meetings and spreadsheets and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
and then when I decided, well, I'm just going to go back to like being a regular IT guy, then you're competing against people with way younger than me with a lot of certifications. And I'm like, okay. I had launched an e-commerce business in 2003 running Google ads and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'll just rewrite my resume
yeah.
and become a marketing dude. And there was not remote work. There was remote work, but not to the degree that it is now, you know. And now who knows what's going to happen with that, with AI and everything.
Yeah, it's the next 5 years. I used to say the next 10 years, but now it's like the next 3 to 5 years is just going to be maddening of what's going to happen. It's crazy.
You
Uh,
know, it'll be
Go ahead.
interesting to see. One thing that you have is a little bit of perspective being older. So everyone's talking about everything that AI is going to, change. I remember in the early 80s, the whole thing was computers going to create a paperless office. Computers created more paper than anything ever in the history of the world because everybody printed everything out all of a sudden. You just printed everything, and they were pitching the paperless office is coming. No one will ever use paper again. Like we use more paper than anything. So it's the point is you don't people they guess, they prognosticate. We all should, but no one knows where this AI thing is going.
No, no, and like it's like I don't know. We build websites for guys, and we have all the technology to do the AI stuff. And I'm actually spending I don't know about a little under 10 grand, but I built one of my own. I built a website for my daughter's company with using all the AI stuff, so I can
Mhm.
run ads and see if the AI can answer it and do all this stuff that these guys on Facebook and YouTube, these gurus swear they can get you 100 leads in a month, and you don't have to do anything but collect money. And like, I don't believe that AI will ever take the place of a human being answering the phone and building a relationship. But I know some business owners that are probably better off having an AI answer the phone because they
That's a
don't want
great
to try to
point.
polish up on their skills.
We've had that conversation. I've had that same conversation with a number of people. Like AI is not as good as a human or a good human,
Yeah,
who can
a good
answer,
human, a good yeah,
or someone that knows has some, just some basic sales skills and things. But it's better than people that don't answer their phone when you get them a lead.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
and it's if I'm if me and you are competing in the real world, marketing world, business world, just you and I, maybe it's 50-50. But if it's me competing against you and you using AI, you're going to win every time.
well, I'm trying to find those little, leverage points where we can use it to our advantage. We can reduce costs, things like that. But it's still very much no one knows who the winners are going to be in this yet. There's still a lot of players. There's a lot of things. It's nice now that when you use AI to create an image, the people don't have seven fingers. That's an improvement. You know, I used a tool, I can't remember what it was, to create a landing page, and it was beautiful. It did a really good job, and you could
Yeah,
edit it. The problem is that it didn't interface or work with anything so there's all those things too.
yeah,
Does it interface with our other tools that we're using, and does it have all the features that we're used to in high level or unbound? So, it doesn't
yeah.
have, it's still very much, it does cool things. I will
It,
admit that.
it does, and it really, like I said, man, in 3 to 5 years, man, it's going to be a total different game. I mean, and that's with cars driving themselves and everything.
Yeah.
Mark, when did you leave Pennsylvania and move down?
Well, I was in Maryland at the time, just outside of Baltimore. So it's been about 2.5 years. And really reason to move was I just got tired of being cold.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is that it? It's like everybody
Yeah.
gets scared of the winters.
It was just I got tired of sitting inside for 5. I'm not a winter sports or
Yeah,
I'm not into freezing my butt off when I go to the
no,
bar.
no,
Yeah.
but I have a cabin up in the mountains, and for years, me and my wife kept saying, nah, that's where we're going to retire. We'll go up there and blah, blah, blah. And then over the last 2 years, both of us, kind of decided it's like, man, I don't know if it's like, man, you're cold. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to, you got to, put on the long johns and everything else just to go outside and walk around. It's hard to be mobile when there's, warm weather somewhere that invites you to come outside.
Absolutely. And now since I've been in Florida for a couple of years, I'm cold when it's 60. So it's just how it goes. Where are you located at?
uh,
California?
yeah, I mean, we were in like a little city called Orange, about 10 minutes from Disneyland, the original Disneyland.
Okay.
Not that fake stuff y'all got in Orlando, and we did. It's like and I don't even know. It's like I bought this little 10-acre ranch about an hour away from there, in
Okay.
wine country, and
Nice.
it's actually a year to the day almost that we've been here, and I second guess it every day. It's way more everything than I wanted to do. And my wife was like, "This is everything you've always wanted." And I was like, "Yeah,
Until I got it.
25 years ago when I was younger and didn't mind raking up goat poo and chasing animals." And so I don't know. It's like I like traveling.
So you've got a little Reagan Ranch out there, huh?
I do. I
Yeah.
do. And I have looked at horses. I've been doing horseback lessons and all that crap to see, but I don't know. Like, I'll leave at the end of this month. I'm going to jump on my motorcycle and do another cross country trip and stop and visit some business owners. And I'll leave here, stay in New Mexico a day. I'll go over to Dallas, spend the night there with a business owner. Leave there. I'll go down. A buddy of mine lives in Pensacola, Florida, and I've been promising to come by. So I'll be there like 2 or 3 days. I'll leave there, head up to Myrtle Beach, pick up my wife. She'll be over in there. We have a couple of townhomes, and she's going to be there. I'm going to pick her up, and she's going to ride on the bike with me. We're going to go down to the Florida Keys for like 3 days with another
That
business.
sounds like a great trip.
Yeah, and then I'll take her back, and she'll fly home, and I'll come back across the country, visiting a couple of people before I get home. So we'll see. We'll see. But I want to get into, like, because I know you started, like you said, you had your e-commerce business, and somehow you figured out Google Ads. And the same time that you were figuring out Google Ads, I was about almost a year behind you, maybe. And most people back then didn't even know Google existed, much less Google Ads. But before we do that, I'm going to break for this little commercial. Is all of this content and these guests are brought to you guys. I don't have sponsors. My sponsor is myself, DDK. All of our business manuals, owner's operators manual. I say this is the best life insurance policy a business owner can leave their family. If something happens to you, God forbid, if I crash on my motorcycle, my wife, my daughters could go through our business manuals, and nothing financially in their life would have to change. They could, a 15-year-old could pick up these manuals and still run the business. Owner's manual, office operating manual for the owner's office manager, the sales rep / project manager manual, employee manual. Each of these are only $197. It took me 40 years to put together, and probably $100,000. And each of the manuals comes with a owner's operating fill in the blank. So it asks, you have to, so you can customize it for your company. They're not even worth the paper they're printed on if you just buy them and put them on the shelf. But we do a package where you get all the manuals, all the fill in the blanks for $497. We throw in my ebook for contractors only. You've mastered your trade, now master your business. The audio book of that, we throw in do Facebook ads work, and we throw in a 7 videos. I think they're about an hour each of a mastermind we did with 6 other contractors who invested in these, and then we spent 7 different hours together helping them customize it. So we throw that in. And the best of all of it is you can really get it for free. Is invest in it, if you don't like it for any reason, we refund your money and you keep everything. So if you want to be that guy, you can do it, but it's all there. So that's the commercial break. So Mark,
I
how did
like
you
the
learn about
commercial break.
Google?
I got questions about that too.
What's that, brother?
So are the people that are your ideal client for these, are they mostly in the home services?
No, I
niche?
mean they they kind of are, only because that's what I've done for 40 years. That, and I've owned a couple of martial arts studios, and those studios have their own operating manuals, and they all
Right.
came. We were talking earlier, is like it all came because of this dude here, Michael Gerber, and the E
Right.
Myth. When I met him in the late 80s, and he was like, "You got to have, everything that's in the book. Every business owner I know relates to it, is because the whole E Myth is it's the entrepreneurial myth. You think you're going to you're going to start your own business and you're going to make all this money and you're going to have all this free time, and it's the complete opposite. You're making less than you did when you were working for someone, and you're working,
But you get to work a lot more.
yeah, you get to
Yeah.
work twice as long. So when I met him, that made sense to me, because he kind of talked about it, and I watched him on stage, and he talked about McDonald's and how 15-year-olds run this billion-dollar business. And I was like, shit, I was one of those 15-year-olds. That was the first job I ever had that you clocked in. So I went home, and just, it still took 5 years before I really had anything, because back then it was a typewriter. It wasn't no freaking,
Right.
unless you were Mark and your dad had new computers. But even then, it was like, you put it in, you typed it, you did the little that white crap that you had to put on it and retype it, and it was a pain in the ass, but you needed it. And I tell guys all the time, I said, dude, the manuals are not for you. The manuals aren't for me. I know I could do this stuff blindfolded. The manuals are for the people I hire. As a business
Right.
owner, I believe your number one job is to replace yourself as quickly as you can, and the manuals help you do that. And like I said, if someone invests in them and don't like them, I don't want their money anyway. I don't even want if they put them on the shelf and look over there 6 months later and never touched them, hit me up then and I'll give you the money back, because it doesn't do you or me any good. But if you take them and use them and change your life, then we all benefit. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So I have something I just launched called AgencyFinder.biz.
Yep.
That's where businesses will be able to connect with agencies. And we're primarily a white label agency, so we're not out there trying to hit up direct clients. We
Yeah.
work for agencies. So what this is a way for businesses to find agencies, but a lot of these businesses could use that set of manuals you have there. So we should
Yeah.
talk about that offline, about how to get that, how to
No,
promote
they
that
yeah,
on that.
they really are everything I say they are. And like you, and that's why you're one of the only one out of two people that I recommend anybody to go to for Google Ads. It's the internet is like the wild, wild west.
Still.
Yeah, these guys watch some Alex Ramosi videos or Russell Brunson, and I know those guys. I've been in that world for a long time. So God bless them. They really, but these guys, man, they buy a course, and the next thing you know, they're taking money from business owners, and the business owners are losing $5,000, $10,000, and they give up on Google and all this talk crap about
Yeah, you
everything.
deal with that a lot, don't you? You deal with
Oh,
that, like, I did this and it didn't work. Well, first of all, a lot of people do a lot of things that don't work.
yeah.
You went on a bad date once. You didn't quit dating.
No.
But
But
yeah,
let's go back to the beginning, because when you did your and I'm going to hit you up with white label, because I'd say 99% of the people don't even know the word white label or what it means. But I'm going to get to that in a second, because you were doing e-commerce and somehow you found Google Ads. How did you find Google Ads? Because for me, it was an accident.
well, I was trying to figure out ways to make money online, and I was doing some things like buying, laptops off of like wholesale sites and things like that, and reselling on eBay and stuff like that. And I started actually working with a pay-per-click. Was it Overture? I forget the name of it. It was a pay-per-click model that was out before Google Ads, and I think Google Ads bought them, and then and somehow I was just trying to find ways to get traffic to the site. I didn't know SEO, and it wasn't until I started to watch Rand Fishkin on
Mhm.
Moz that I started to figure that out. But when you start a business up, you need like immediate stuff
Yeah.
happening now. You can't wait 6 months or anything else. So actually, I created this website using some hinky e-commerce solution. It wasn't like Shopify. I don't even know if Shopify was around.
No, it was not in 2002, 2003 when you were doing it. You were like a pioneer.
I ran some ads for some of the things that we had on there. And then like I didn't think about it. And then like 3 days later I checked and I had orders. I'm like, I love this. This is
Yeah.
the best thing ever, And the beautiful thing in 2003, you could actually make money in e-commerce, unlike now where it's like everyone's selling everything on Amazon for the lowest possible price. And if someone else isn't, Amazon just steals your idea and sells it
Yeah.
on Amazon. So it was a land of milk and honey back then.
Man.
And it was still a process trying to figure it out, but Google had not taken away all the things we like from us
Yeah.
like they have now in Google Ads, where you could see all the search terms and you could see your ad position and exact match keywords were exact match keywords.
So people listening right now, so keywords. It's like people, what's keywords? And I'm like, dude, ask your wife. Your wife goes to Google and she searches for something. And like some people would just type in 1 or 2 words and hit search. My wife types in 2 or 3 paragraphs and I'm like, will you stop? She's like, no, I want to make sure I get exactly what I am. But whatever anybody types into that search bar, that's basically the keywords or the long tail keywords or whatever it is. And so when we're running ads for people, like you're running ads, so exact match, and it used to be broad match. Remember, it used to be before that, it was like the little plus symbol in front
broad match modifier. I love
yeah,
it.
the modifier and all that crap. And they got rid of that. But
and broad match now to me is just like you're literally just targeting an audience in broad match because it's like, so I always say it's like if you're like you're running landscaping ads, for example, if you're running broad match, you're basically just targeting people who might have a yard.
Yeah,
they may or may not need landscaping. They may, it's really changed over the years.
They can type in Kentucky bluegrass because they want to figure out what the grass is around the Run for the Roses and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, and your ad will come up and they may click it, they may not. But then there's the CT, the click through rate every time, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, Google is, and that's what we were, even before we jumped, before we hit go, we were talking offline is like, people say, I've got videos that teach people how to run ads and we're writing this manual right now to help them. But I almost feel like I'm giving them an empty gun and saying, here, defend yourself. You're almost like giving them enough information to even waste more money. And then they're like, well, run the ads. And I'm like, I don't run ads for guys. And like, well,
you're better off.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, and like I said, so I'll say, no, call up Mark. But it's like a catch-22. It's like, if you're not going to run the ads for them, and I've had a couple of business guys tell me this, is like, well, who are you going to recommend? And it's like, because I don't like I said, it's the Wild West. These guys have watched a couple of videos on YouTube and now they're just taking money from business owners and the business owners don't have a clue.
Oh, I see those posts in some of the Facebook groups. Like, I just sold a client, PPC for plumbing. How do I do it?
How do I do it? Or how much should I be charging them? And like, I scratch my head and I'm like, my God, it's like, it's maddening. And it was, so how and back then, like right now, someone really could go on because you've got a lot of great content videos on how to do Google ads and stuff. I've got just 1 or 2. So people now could really go to YouTube and watch your videos, or, I mean, there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people that have really good stuff.
But when you got into it, and when I got into it, there was no videos on how to do it. YouTube wasn't even here yet.
I wasted a lot of money.
Yeah.
That was one of the ways I learned. Wasted a lot of money and tried to find the resources that I could back then. YouTube wasn't really a thing. You just had to search and hope you could find a document somewhere, or an article. But the problem with searching anything, I guess it's true of everything, but the problem with searching anything marketing related is like most of the stuff is wrong,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's, you really had to scrape to find the good information.
Yeah. It
And
is.
I think even now, I think you have to scrape to find the good information. Like if I do an AI search on something Google Ads related, I'm like, that's kind of true,
Yeah.
but that's not exactly true. So, you can't just be careful be careful what you implement. Find somebody that you follow some people,
Yeah.
especially on YouTube. I do that with like, that's how I learned high level. That's how I learned Facebook ads. I found someone and I stole their stuff.
Yeah. There's a guy watching right now. This this Charlie Ingle, man. He's like the thief of all thieves when it comes to stealing people's stuff. But at least he'll use it, implement it, and make some money, and send you gift cards and stuff.
I mean, we all learned by stealing other people's stuff
Yeah.
to a degree.
Man, because when I started Google Ads, I didn't even know it existed. I came out of the personal development speaking circus,
Oh, okay.
and I got back into construction, and then the internet had really taken off. But I didn't, and so I got back into construction. I was doing everything that I did way back in the day, trying to do, Craigslist and flyers and mailers, and the phone
Oh, I
book was
remember
still,
Craigslist.
yeah, the phone
I
book
got
was
a bunch
still a
of
little bit
clients
of
over
thing.
there.
Yeah. And I did a speaking engagement for a guy, and they sold tickets and stuff to a theater. And I was like, well, how do you sell the tickets? And he said, oh man, 90% of it comes from Google Ads. I said, what? And this was probably 2003, 2004. I said, Google Ads, what the hell is that? He
It
said,
wasn't saturated either.
no. And so, and I said, man, I wonder if it'll work for, blah, blah, blah. And he laughed. And then I started looking at it. And then I hired someone to do it for me. And they did, I guess, okay. But then I would, I had access to the account. So I'd go in and look and play with it and try to learn as much as I could. And then, I don't know, it just back and forth. And then I realized that the clicks went to the website, and the website was just okay.
Right.
And the website was better than okay for me, only because we had already had probably 4 or 5 different websites for my speaking industry stuff. And then, so I knew that part a little bit. But then my wife had hit me up and she said, well, we need a welcome video. And so she showed up on one of the construction sites with her little 8mm camera. And we did a welcome video. And it was a pain in the butt to get it on the website. You had to download it to this thing called Pinnacle and edit it and all this other stuff. And, the internet speed wasn't what it was, but it worked. And then I thought, and then we jumped on YouTube as soon as it came out before Google bought it. And that was a game changer for us. And by then I had stopped paying this dude to run my ads, and I had tried stuff like you try stuff. It didn't work. I wasted money. I'd go back to what did work. And then all these keywords and negative keywords. And then Google started calling you and saying they could help you. And so I did that for 6 months. And then, and then every I would sit behind the computer and let them have my screen and all this other shit. And then every time I spent an hour with them. I'd spend an hour with them and waste thousands of dollars the next 2 or 3 weeks because of everything that they did didn't work. And I'm thinking, son of a bitch, they're supposed to be helping me. And then, and my buddy was laughing, going, dude, their job is to make money for Google. And I'm like, but by hurting me, it's like, I eventually stayed away from them. But then every 2 or 3 years, I would listen to them to see if maybe there's something new that I didn't know. I don't know. But it's like, you had to waste a lot of money to try to learn it. Is that what you found?
Yeah, well, I wasted a lot of money trying, until I remember going with not broad match, but super broad keywords and not intent based and not like bottom of the funnel stuff. And, and then I'm paying all this money. I didn't have conversion tracking set up because I was too dumb to set up conversion tracking at first. And then I figured that out. And that's literally still one of the biggest things we see now, 20 couple years later, is people that aren't not tracking their conversions. Well, nothing else matters in the end, or tracking all their conversions wrong. That's another thing, So if you're running a bid strategy that counts on conversion data and your conversion data is wrong, you're going to maximize your campaigns on the wrong things. So all these things play together. The other thing that they've done with some of the, like they've really tried to make it easy for the average person to run a campaign. The problem is they've made it easy for them to run really bad campaigns,
Yeah.
kind of like you talked about, where they just suck money out of your wallet. And, they've made it easy, but mostly easy for you to give money to Google. So, you battle all these things in this particular niche. And then during COVID, everyone went into business for themselves, and it got even more competitive on that. I think there's two things. Everyone got in business for themselves, and because everyone is out there running these PBACs and broad match, they're showing up for keywords they should never show up for. It's making everything cost more and more competitive. So, but it works for Google.
Yeah. And then these guys get frustrated because they hear me talking about Google ads, and and so they immediately, they don't know anything else about me. They think I'm a shyster. And I'm like, dude, I'm not asking you. I'm not going to run your ads for you anyway. So like, I'm just telling you,
I always laugh about that. People are like, well, why should I run ads on Google? I'm like, where do you go? Like,
yeah. Where does your wife go? Where's your mother go? Everybody.
I don't change them up with AI, but it's not going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah.
Plus, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, I think AI, I forget the exact term, AI Max or something like that, is a new thing that Google is rolling out to take vast sums of money out of your pocket. It might be good. We'll find out.
Yeah. Somebody asked me about people, and they are. I mean, eventually, like they use Alexa. Find me a roofer near me, or a roofer in Anaheim or something, and they're going to try to use ChatGPT later on. But look, Google's way too big, way too smart. They're not sitting around not knowing all of this. And I did. I did it with another business owner. I said, okay, well, let's try it. And we went to ChatGPT, and I said, hey, let's find me a company that refinishes hardwood floors in the city of Anaheim. And it was, and we had to go back and forth with it because it just kept bringing up companies that had anything to do with flooring, carpet, tile, all this other stuff. And I said, dude, look, I said, maybe one day it will. I said, but right now it's going to be, the homeowner is going to get frustrated and go right back to Google, where they always go. During you mentioned COVID, and during COVID, my wife just got frustrated with Google because it seemed like, if you said anything bad about Fauci or COVID wasn't as bad, it was like, Google was kind of like, I don't know, it was just playing favorites. And so my wife was frustrated. She's like, I ain't using them no more. And that lasted for maybe 2 weeks. I don't even think it lasted that week. She did duck, all this other shit, and Bing, whatever. And then like a week later, she's back on Google. And I said, what happened? She's like, shut up. Because Google dominates, man. You search for something on Google, and they're going to help you find it.
With ChatGPT or the other AIs, they usually give you like an answer. Whereas if you search for like wood floor refinishing in San Diego, you're going to get like 3 to 5 different ads. You could choose from different people. You have options. It's still a better system. I think for informational searches, like the AI stuff is really good. Like, what's this red spot on my kid's back or something? I think it's pretty good at that. Or how do I do this? How to? But most of your searches that you do on Google for ads aren't how to, because no one wants to teach you how to do something unless they're selling a book or something. But people want someone who's calling a plumber because their toilet's backed up.
Actually, how to is a big part of my negative keywords.
Exactly. We don't want how to, because how to tells us that you're going down to Lowe's.
Yeah, exactly. And Lowe's, Home Depot, all of that is like, and I've tried to tell these guys, like, I said, dude, your negative keyword list is probably more important than your keyword list. It's more important to show up not to show up in front of.
Yeah, we'll get that a lot of times. Like, why did you negative out this word? It's what we do. I'm like, the word's flooring. Like, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
Flooring contractor near me means something. Flooring doesn't tell. They're like, you negatived out my biggest keyword. I'm like, no, you were just wasting money, with that stuff.
What do you think the top 3 things for Google Ads are? I mean, I got my own opinions. I want to hear yours.
What's that?
What do you think the top 3 things to run a successful Google Ads campaign is?
Get your settings correctly in your campaign, like your location targeting, what to turn off. Make sure you're not on the display network. Make sure you're not on the search partners. Make sure you start out with like max clicks or something like that. Like, don't start max. They tell you to start max conversions, but you don't have any. So don't start out there. Get your settings right. Build a solid campaign. That's like harder than it sounds. And then get your conversion tracking. That's settings, conversion tracking, and just poorly formed, Google Ads campaigns are what we see. And I know that's like 3 huge topics, but those are things. Just not in your campaign. It's not using intent-based keywords. It's having 1 ad for 1,000 keywords. If you're, break it down into your ad groups, get some unique ads, run a couple ads so that you can test things, that sort of thing. But conversion tracking is huge. No one has it, or it's set up wrong, and nothing else matters as to like whether you got a sale or a lead. Those are the things that matter.
Yeah, because that's the bottom line is like impressions, people seeing your ads doesn't matter. The clicks doesn't matter. All of it. The only thing that really matters.
None of that matters.
Yeah, it's like what really matters is like, even if you got 10 phone calls, like what matters is out of those 10 calls, how many turned into real paying jobs.
Exactly.
And a lot of, and that's what I go back to the manuals is a lot of guys tell me all the time is like, just, if they just followed this freaking sales rep project manager thing, it's like, you probably don't need more ads. You need to close more leads. You need to close the leads that you've got. Start turning, if the phone's ringing, all of that. But because for me, how important is the landing page or /home page of your website or what that crap?
That's a conversation we have constantly because someone's like, well, I just paid my nephew $3,000 for this website. It's really cool. And we're like, every bit of experience we have like tells us use the landing page because we've made 1,000 of them. We know what we're doing. We're going to capture every lead. And they're like, yeah, but they don't get to see everything on my website. I'm like when you go in to meet a sales rep or something, you don't learn everything. That they're focused on the things that you do. You're like, what are the most important things you want to talk about in that one-on-one conversation? Your landing page serves the same purpose. We're going to measure everything. We can A/B test that landing page. It works. It didn't go down because, your WordPress didn't upgrade with a PHP plugin failure. It's fast. And trust us, we know what we're doing. I understand you really think you have a pretty website, but there's a reason for landing pages. Yeah. And you're wearing us out having the same conversation again because this is what we do for a living. Maybe just trust us on this one.
Yeah, most guys, anytime someone reaches out to me or any group that I'm in and they tell me Google Ads didn't work, my first response is it's because your website or your landing page. No, we spent a lot of money on it. I'm like, I don't care how much you spend on it. I was like, I said, I don't even have to look at it.
Design things to convert. Like, how many websites have I seen where it's this gorgeous website, but the phone number's in the footer?
Yeah.
Like, get your tiny little phone number out of the footer and put it right at the top of the header and put a form there. And I'm sorry, that doesn't look attractive, but you want leads. You don't really want to look pretty.
No. And like, I don't know. And on the internet, I come across as probably in real life too, as a jerk. But I'm like, dude, I've been doing, look, dude. I said, I'm not guessing at this shit anymore. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah, and it's I've done it for I'm not, I didn't do this. I did this for my own company and my and a couple of friends. So it's crazy. And it's like already 40 minutes into it, but
is that 40 minutes? I thought it was 15.
But so you just started this, and I was gonna reach out to you even before I asked you to be on the podcast, but this whole agency finder thing, AgencyFinder.biz.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna type that in the comments right now. But is that what it sounds like? You're helping other people find the right marketing agency? What is it?
Yeah, it's an old-fashioned thing in the sense that it's a directory of agencies, but as far as I know, it's the largest directory in the US of US-based agencies. And they're, cover every type of, service, SEO, PPC, branding, video, everything else. And the idea is to help connect. And this is freshly launched, so there's a lot of work that has to be done yet. But to me, it's very confusing for businesses to find an agency that's a good fit for them. So what we want to do eventually is just here's 9,000 agencies you can search through. You can find them either because they're close to you and you want to work with someone local, or because they specialize in what you do, or they work only with landscaping companies, or they only do SEO, whatever it is. But we want to we want to serve to help businesses find a good fit agency, because I think it's really hard when you're in
Oh,
business and you
maybe the
don't do
hardest.
marketing to know who should I work with.
Yeah, probably the hardest. I mean, like I said, is like every one of these young guys have watched an Alex Ramosi video or Russell, and now they're a marketing agency. And I'm
Well,
like, I feel
what
bad
it
for them.
takes to be you need a website to be a marketing agent.
I
And
guess.
trust me, I was there.
Yeah. And I feel bad for these business owners, man. It's like, oh man, it's
I feel
like
bad for both of them. Sometimes business owners get
yeah,
what they get what they
they deserve. Yeah, true.
yeah,
Uh,
they earned it. They earned it sometimes.
yeah,
When you talk to a business owner and they're like, "You're my seventh Google Ads guy," I'm like, "I
yeah,
might not be your seventh Google Ads guy.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm
I was
signing
like,
up."
here, let me give you number 9 and 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as much as I love Google Ads, and it's 90% of the marketing that we've done since 2004, it's made me my phone is a Google Pixel because I just feel like I owe it. Everybody else in my family all have Apples, and they're like, you got to switch over, and I'm like, Google. I said everything you guys have is because of Google.
Nothing is coming from Apple for those. They're not searching
No,
Apple for anything.
no. It's like, and when I go into like when I look at my long term history and see like over $2 million that I've given Google, and I don't even like to look at it anymore. But I mean, but I look around and all the money, everything I have it came from Google Ads, and people are like, man, you're Google this, and I'm like, dude, it's like maybe it's not working as good now, or like it's
But it's
and
relative
again,
compared to what?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Compared to what? That's the whole thing. And I tell guys, I said, dude, it's like you've got to be as a business owner who's been doing this for 40 years. I know marketing. I was with Jay Abraham and all these other guys way back in the day. And so, like, the direct mailers and everything, you've
right.
got to be everywhere. You've got to be everywhere. And when
You
they
gotta
ask me
have your
about Google Ads,
your
yeah,
signs, your hang cards, whatever it is, direct mail,
yeah.
whatever it is.
But if
People
you
always
do
ask
direct
me,
mail, Mark, if you do a billboard, they go to Google to research you and find you.
exactly,
So you better
exactly.
have a YouTube channel. You better have a Google business profile, Google Maps. And I don't know how many times Google has changed that damn name.
Oh
That
yeah,
used to be frustrating as hell.
yeah. Google Business Profile, I guess it
All
is
this
now.
stuff, all this, and they used to have the app on the phone, and I'd make video after video teaching guys how to do stuff, and then 3 months later, it wouldn't even exist anymore. And I'm like, come on, man.
Quit taking things away from us.
Yeah,
One of the challenges that you have with
you got
Google,
to be everywhere, and that's what and people listen. They get their Google business profile, and I think that's Google's trick to get business owners just to get the Google profile. So now, I want to ask you about this, and I don't want to run out of time because you do Google guarantee for people. I've never
yeah,
done that. I haven't even done it for my own business, and I don't even know if they call it Google guarantee anymore. Now I think it's what
local
local
service
service.
ads, but
Yeah,
you still
local
get the
service
little
ads, right?
Google guarantee
Is
thing
it
on your ad, because you do have to go through more of a vetting process than you
not
do
like
with
it
Google
was
Ads.
in the beginning, though, right?
Yeah, I don't know, because we didn't do it. We only started to do local service ads because so many people kept asking about them,
Yeah.
and because it appears to be the direction. It appears that it could be the direction that Google wants to go. Who knows for sure? Because they're doing multiple things at the same time.
Yeah.
but we've had good success with them. And the main thing, it's interesting. There's not anywhere near to do as much to do with LSAs as there is with Google Ads. But the interesting thing is business owners still don't do the basic stuff they should do. They don't respond. They don't get on there. They don't review their calls. They don't respond to the surveys. They don't have, everything set up maximum. So we just do the stuff that they should do, but don't.
Yeah.
But I like it because Google is responsible for the lead, not me. So if you don't
Yeah.
like the lead, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
So that's
Argue with because that was like when you're running Google ads for people, it's like
it's all your fault.
it is, man. Like I'm like, oh man. And that's why at one time I was going to do it, and I did it for a couple of business owners, and most of them are happy, but it was too much pressure on me. And I even told my wife, I said, I can't do this.
Well, the interesting thing about Google Ads is you have every stat available to you. No other advertising do you have that level of stats. And then it's like that comes with this insane level of expectations because they can see every impression, every click cost. Whereas if I charge them if I put a billboard up and I charge them $5,000 a month, they wouldn't have any questions.
Nope, exactly. It's crazy. Because I've helped probably 5 or 6 business owners set up their Google guarantee, and I don't, like I said, I've never done it. I just kind of walk them through what I know from other people, and they'll call me and ask questions, and I'm like, and I tell them, I said, look, I said, man, because if you search for a roofer or a landscape or a painter, man, now the first thing you see is Google guarantee people. And then you got to get down
the page.
Yeah.
And I want to tell Alan, who asked, it's AgencyFinder.biz. AgencyFinder.biz.
I typed it into I typed it into the comments, and I was gonna double check and make sure I typed it in correctly.
I think that the LSAs, they are very prominent, and most of the leads we've had, most of the people we've worked with have had good success. The only ones that have had a challenge are ones where they're in some weird kind of niche that's not because LSAs only work in certain niches in certain areas.
Yeah.
So they don't work.
I think they're going to get better because it's all new for Google also. And I think Google started it because they've seen how much money Angie's List and Thumbtack and Home Advisor was making.
Right. And why not? You already own, they're just riding on your search engine.
Yeah.
Of course, they're running ads and stuff like that. So that's good for Google.
But the one thing I didn't like about the Google guarantee or the LSA is it looks like they either call you directly or text you directly, which is fine, but I still rather send them back to my landing page or home page because the way we built them, it builds an instant relationship, and they see the video testimonials and the welcome video and content and
immediately. We like that too, as opposed to like a call from ad. We like to have people go to the landing page where they read over what you do and how you do it. Your lead quality is generally better. But for some reason, the LSAs hit, but probably because they're going after things like, if you're going after like housekeeping service, it's hard to, you know what that is, basically, that sort of thing. So it's not like you need a bunch of explaining.
I'll tell you what, with a couple of guys that I've helped out is like when I'm running their Google ads for them, and then I kind of walk them through setting up the LSA. Boy, it seems like when they're doing both, and it seems like Google rewards them. And I know that
would be wrong.
There's no way to prove it, and it's a conspiracy theory. But boy, man, it turned on. Man, I'm like, shit, I don't know.
Actually, there's and I've started to lean into this a little bit more myself with our clients, is trying to encourage them to do some Facebook ads. Doesn't cost a lot of money, but there seems to be a synergy when you're showing up on Facebook and you're showing up on Google and maybe the LSAs and things like that. We always see better performance. Facebook ads, we started doing them not too long ago. They tend to be lower quality, but they're also, a fourth of the price or fifth of the price.
And I talk crap all the time because we run our companies, we try to, I tell guys all the time, like even because I have the ebook, do Facebook ads work? And why so many contractors waste thousands of dollars, whatever it is. But it's like, man, it's one of the best branding ads you can pay for the money. It's like, it really is a billboard on the freeway and people are seeing it. And if you do it the right way, man, you just keep showing up in front of people and not begging for
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'll go to Google and they see you everywhere. Like they may not even remember they seen you on Facebook, but when they go to Google and they see your ad or your Google business profile or your LSA, they're, for some reason it just seems familiar.
We've been actually leaning into, and I talked to some agency owner friends of mine today, and they were of the same mindset. Was we used to kind of scoff at branding, but now given the level of competition and how much people relate to brands, starting to think even your local businesses need to focus on that a little bit more.
And I've been pushing the branding for 15 years.
No, I've been rocking branding, but now I'm
way longer than Gary V. I love Gary V because he just makes me feel like I was ahead of the game.
Well, Gary's great. I mean, he's got great content and everything.
Yeah, he does. You got to be everywhere with the stuff. And this dude here, Charlie, said, how important do you believe YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook are for funnels back to your website?
Well, when we run Facebook ads, unless it's well, I don't run e-commerce for Facebook ads, but when we run Facebook ads, we do it to a Facebook forum, because we don't want to take them off the site. Now, you can if you've got all your pixels set up right and everything, but I like the Facebook forums with qualifying questions in there because I found that to be most effective for generating the best leads. You send it to a landing page, you tend to reduce your conversion rate considerably. You might get a better conversion, so there's a trade-off there, but that's just not how we run them.
And Charlie said posted consistently on Facebook business page, he feels like it beats the F. You may feel that way, but when you post on Facebook, they're changing it a little bit now. But you got to pay the money to get in front of people that normally wouldn't see your post. They are changing it now because of TikTok, so they're going to a more of a algorithm of interest based, right? Where they never were before. But it's still for $5 a week, $5 a day, you can just show up in front of a lot of people.
I don't post ever on my business page because no one cares about business pages. Yeah. They relate to people, but they don't care about business pages, in my opinion. So I never even post on my own business page. Everything's on my personal Facebook or in groups or ads or boosted reels. I
think groups is still a big part of Facebook if you do it correctly. And I don't do it correctly. I'm a jerk. I'm a jerk to everybody. I'm like, you can't be asking this stupid of a question. There's no such thing as dumb questions, dude. That was like,
no, there really are.
I'm too old, Mark. I'm too old and jaded.
It's hard not to say things. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. I try to just be a little sarcastic about it.
Yeah.
But you read some things sometimes and you're like, for real. Or I love the ones in like I'm in a lot of Google Ads groups, and someone will post up like an image of like a conversions and click-through rate and say, my conversions are down 30% month over month. Why? I'm like, how are we supposed to tell? You just put an image of, when, like, that's impossible to know.
I mean, cause like, and you can get into it, like the time of day that you run your ads, the age group that you want it to show up in front of. And that's the other thing too. I'll say with landing pages and websites, I'm like, they'll show me this, some people show me their website and landing page, and I'll look at it. I'll pull it up. And I'll say, man, this looks like shit. And they go, oh, well, you're looking at it on your phone. You got to be behind your laptop. And I'm like, dude, nobody's going to be behind their fucking laptop.
Your traffic is going to be.
Yeah. I said, if it don't look good here, it ain't going to look good anywhere. Nobody's going to go to their laptop and to try to look.
I remember like what was it, 10 years ago or something? I'm like checking out the desktop versus mobile. I'm like, man, this mobile's starting to catch on, because it was 90%, desktop all the time.
Yeah.
Interesting, because there are still niches like roofing used to be one where older people had homes.
Yeah.
So desktop was a lot more prevalent. A lot. You should, yes. How much should I charge? You probably
Yeah.
shouldn't charge anything if you have to ask that question.
That's like, because every one of these trade groups that we're in, it seems like every other post is how much should I charge? And I'm like, dude, if you got to ask that question, go get a job, go work for
You can
somebody.
Google that. Come on, man. Do
Yeah,
a
you
little
can
work.
Google it. Yeah, Chat GBT it.
Hey, Alan, I'm glad that we have just confused you.
Yeah,
That's
it,
our,
I don't. I mean, that's why when people reach out to me, I said, I don't know, go watch Mark's content or call Mark up, and that's why I'm interested in this whole agency finder thing. And someone would say, someone would say, well, Mark, you do the landing pages, you do the websites, you do the ads for these guys. Why would you help them find another agency?
well, here's the thing. We work with other agencies because we talked about that earlier. We're white label, meaning
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Tell these people what white label is, Mark.
we work as a subcontractors for agencies like that, maybe their website or SEO or whatever, and they have clients that want Google ads. So we work for the agency behind the scenes. They interact with their client. Does that make sense? Like we're a subcontractor, just like a general contractor builds a house. He charges the homeowner, but he's not putting up the drywall. You know.
So what is white label? Is that someone
white
hiring
label,
you?
Private label. It means
just a private
no one's going to know we exist. You're never going to see inbound revenue anywhere except right here. You're not going to see it in your Google Ads campaign. Like we make sure that we're invisible to the agency's client.
Yeah. Yeah, because it could be like, meaning guys reach out to me and say, hey, can you run my Google ads? And I could take their money and charge them a lot and then pay you to do it all.
Yeah, exactly. Like lots of times people like do SEO, like they do SEO, let's say, and the client's like, I want to do Google ads also. They don't do Google ads. They don't have a Google ads person, but they don't want them out talking to another agency.
Yeah.
Looking for Google ads. They're like, okay, well, we'll talk to a white label agency like Inbound Revenue. We have packages and things. We make it real easy for folks because we've been doing this for a while. And inboundrevenue.com, though my site was down earlier because of a plugin. Jeez and crackers. It's always something, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, hey, Mark, because it is. I mean, we're getting close to the end, but and Alan's asking for contact information. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, I'm all over Facebook, inboundrevenue.com, mkelly at mkelly at inboundrevenue.com. Yeah, just reach out to me. I've got, and I'm on X and LinkedIn, though I never go on.
Because I put that AgencyFinder.biz up there, but let me put in the comments, I'm going to put your direct
inboundrevenue.com.
NBOUND INBOND.
Yeah, there you go, right there. Inbound Revenue, right behind me.
Oh, there it is. See, look at you, all fancy. You're like Joe Rogan and shit with the
I'm Joe Rogan without all the good famous people on my show. I'm gonna emulate you though. I'm gonna start. I love this live concept, and I'm gonna start doing some podcasts because
I do a couple recorded, but I do like people being able to interact. But I don't know. It seems like when I record them, it doesn't come across as good, and it's probably just mental for me. Yeah.
Well, I like the live concept. My buddy Al Safadi, who owns an agency, has been doing lives. I'm like, that's really cool because you feel more engaged when it's live, don't you?
Yeah.
Like when you're watching something live, it's like, wow, I'm actually participating in this thing as it's happening. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. And I'm going to be, when I get back from my month-long vacation on the motorcycle, and I'm going to start it before then because we've kind of kicked it off now. And so Tuesdays we're going to be doing the lives MDK with people like yourself who can help business owners. Thursdays I do a live master your business coaching, and any business owner can just show up and be a part of it. And then Wednesday we're going to be doing live called mental martial arts. Defend yourself against your toughest opponent, you. And that's all about personal development. In 2001, I sold everything and went on the road with Zig Ziglar, Les Brown, Jim Rohn, and I did a whole program called Mental Martial Arts.
I love
Yeah.
Zig. Yeah.
Yeah. And God rest his soul type of deal. But so I'm going to be sharing that on Wednesday. So it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays until people get sick of me. And then we, like all of this stuff, I just splice it up, and we do a lot of shorts and blaster them
beautiful
all over the place. Yeah.
Shorts and reels. Yeah. Those are great.
Yeah. So we got through, so we got the AgencyFinder.biz. We got the inboundrevenue.com, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I've enjoyed it. It's been a great time. Everyone should buy your books.
I appreciate that.
That's what I took away today.
No, it's like my biggest thing is I want people, business owners, to meet more guys like you. I tell them, I say, look, so if you're a contractor, subcontractor, anything, the homeowner gets like 3, 4, 5 different estimates.
Right.
They do the background check. They look at your references and all this other stuff. Yet these guys will go and hire the first Yahoo they see on Facebook or wherever. Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I said, do your same due diligence.
That's a problem I'm going to try to help people solve. I haven't figured out exactly, but we're going to do some vetting or some things like that to like really help them, because I feel the agencies have a hard time getting leads, believe it or don't. That's a secret I shouldn't let out there. Agencies are like the cobbler's kids. They have no shoes. It's
like, dude, you're marketing. How come you're not doing it for yourself type of thing?
Marketing for marketing is really hard. Talk about the most competitive thing ever.
It is. And I tell guys, because I've been teaching marketing since 95. And I said, look, the thing is, really, marketing is all mental, but it's like marketing has never changed. It will never change. The only thing that changes is how we deliver the marketing. And that's what all this media is. That's what the newspaper, the telephone, or television, the radio, the Google ads, Facebook, all of that is how we deliver marketing. I'm not going to get into that. I just want people and if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, give us the thumbs up, hit the bell so you'll get notified. But reach out to someone like Mark. Reach out to Mark, and if he can't help you, he'll find an agency that can help you.
I'll recommend somebody.
Yeah, but do your due diligence. I tell people all the time.
Business is hard. Business is hard. It's not for the faint of heart, and it's always hard. So get those manuals. Talk to people. Get smart.
Yeah.
You do your research. I know it's hard, but
it is. But you get, and like you said, you get what you pay for, but more than that, you get what you really you researched.
Well, if you want it easy, you shouldn't have got into business. Because
don't get me started. I tell this story all the time. I'm going to tell it again.
Because I'm 30.
My first karate studio, where I used to buy all the gloves and all the bags that you hold and the karate gis and stuff. Every time I'd go in there for supplies, on the desk near the cash register, they had this thick book like this, and it was all wrapped in cellophane, and it was like $99. And back then, that could have been $190,000 to me. That was way more. I was like, $99. God dog, man, it was like late 80s, 89, something like that. And I go in there, and after about 5 or 6 times of seeing this book, I'm like, man, I saved up my $99 so I could buy it and unwrap that cellophane. And it was written by this Korean dude, Taekwondo guy. And it even sounded like him. It was written with the slang and stuff. But the first page was, if you want no problem, you don't want no business. If you're going to be in business, you're going to have problems. And and that was the first page. And the book was okay. I got enough value out of it that it was worth the $99. But nothing stuck to me like that did. I was like, man, that's the first thing I got to read. I gave this guy $99.
As soon as you accept that, your life will get better.
It has. And no matter any venture that I've tried, that statement has been the most true statement of everything.
Yes. It's going to suck. Just get used to it.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Mark, man, I appreciate you taking the time to come on here with us. Hopefully some people will see this no matter when they watch it and reach out to you.
Okay. I'll talk to folks.
And next week I got this guy, Jason from Texas. He's got a super successful business, painting and I think gutters, but he helps other contractors. It's going to be exciting for everybody. And I'll start promoting that tomorrow. But
what day is that? That'll be on Tuesday also?
Yep, it'll be Tuesday. Every Tuesday is business. I'm going to be interviewing someone who can help business owners.
Okay, beautiful.
I appreciate it. All right, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.